Hello everyone, I'm CoolGuy, welcome back, and this week at Bungie on 9/12 just came out and we need to talk about it. I choose which ones I want to go over as far as this week at Bungie, and this is one I definitely need to talk about. I'm going to be kind of reading it, but also giving some thoughts. There's some real gems in here. On the screen right now, they do have an updated calendar if you'd like to take a look at it, but they start going into weapon mods. They're treated as usable unlocks instead of consumables. This is huge. They say that any mod that you have in your inventory will be converted to unlocks. It's going to allow you to use different mods more frequently. And they say that if the only copy of a mod that you have is already on a weapon, you need to reacquire one to unlock it. So as it stands, be on the search for mods. Try to get at least one, that way it becomes an unlock. Then you can start picking and choosing and switching them out. Auto rifles got a damage increase between plus 30% and plus 25% depending on the combatant rank. That's going to be for PvE, so all those half-dans, all those tiger spites, all of those ARs that you've held on to that are outlaw kill clip or rampage, we're going to see how they work, but they should become viable. And definitely Suros. Bows PvE damage increased plus 31% against minor enemies and plus 26 against majors. I wonder if they also buff the poison damage from Monarch. That could be interesting. For hand cannons, PvE damage against minor enemies increased by 30%. This should be pretty good. Should be able to at least one-shot them. Lightweight and adaptive hand cannons use a new firing animation when aiming down sights. So this has nothing to do with the accuracy cone, nothing to do with stability, just the animation. They say the change was made to increase weapon accuracy when firing these weapons as fast as possible. They say, as an example, currently players can shoot faster than the recoil animation for 140s and 150s. So while the hand cannon looks to have fully reset its recoil, the following projectile will be shot as if the weapon was still in a recoiled state. So basically how it sounds, they retuned it to where it goes a little bit quicker now. The animation gets through a little bit quicker, which makes sense. That way the barrel's down and everything's reset before you fire again. We'll see how it plays into Bloom. We'll do all that testing when it comes out. Now here's one I need your help with. Let's talk about it in the comment section. They say they reduced the effect the range stat has on damage range fall off, the effective range for this weapon archetype. So I'm not sure if that reads as the range stat isn't as important, because if we remember back in Destiny 1, there was a range cap on hand cannons. You can only go so far. So maybe they're doing that. I don't know how to look at it. Let's talk about it in the comment section. For machine guns, PvE damage against minor enemies increased plus 25%. That's gonna be good for the Delirium. Increase the effects of damage fall off on this weapon's archetype. So this is the reverse of what they did to hand cannons. Pulse rifles, PvE damage against minor enemies increased by 28%. Increase the effects of damage fall off on the weapon archetype. So that's all that coming into effect again. And from how it seems, that's in hopes for scouts to compete in the Crucible, as well as PvE activities. Archetype specific damage changes. Rapid fire pulses now do 14 to the body, 23.8 to the head. Previously they were 13 and 21.4. High impact pulses, as we talked about in the previous video, now deal 21 to the body, 33.6, so it is rounded to 34. They were previously at 20 to the body and 32, so that's a good buff for the high impacts. And now even the rapid fire, so we'll go through the numbers and see what the new TTK is. I mean, as far as shots registered, headshot to body shot ratio, things like that. Scout rifles, PvE damage increased plus 36% and plus 18 depending on the combatant rank. 36% is a lot, so hopefully the oxygen becomes what it should be, as well as all the other scouts that we have. Sidearms PvE damage increased by minor and major combatants by 16%, that's good. Sniper rifles damage increased plus 47% against minor enemies, plus 20 against others. So that firing line, Soul Survivor, just got a lot better with a spec on it. Definitely be grinding for it in the Reckoning. As well as Gambit, and they say exotic sniper rifle perk damage bonuses have been modified to compensate for this change, and they will not receive the full benefits as a result, which makes sense. Submachine guns, PvE damage increased by 22.5% against minor and major combatants. So somehow the Recluse gets even better. They did some changes to the aggressive frames. Apparently, there was that intrinsic perk that deals more bonus damage at close range. And that damage was at 10%, but was unintentionally always active, so that makes a little bit of sense. They say as a result from these nerfs, the Teraba and the Huckleberry gain plus 10% damage in both PvE and PvP. That's good. So here's where it gets super interesting, guys, and this is what I'm excited for. They talk about the exotic sweet business. They increased the magazine size from 100 to 150. They got a PvE damage bump by 15%. High caliber rounds have been replaced by armor piercing, so that's good. It's going to go straight through your enemies. Damage changed to 15 to the body, 21.2 to the head. Previously 13 to the body, 21 to the head, so they changed the body shot damage. Graviton Lance PvE damage increased by 30%. Its exotic perk is super good. That's all I've been using it in the Reckoning right now. So they're going to make that even better. Sunshot increased magazine to 12, which was always needed since the weapon came out. Vigilance Wing, PvE damage increased by 25%, and that has a lot of good static perks that it gets, but I don't think players are going to be using it. Who knows? And here's the huge one. Here's the one I really want to focus on. Crimson. Damage changed to 19 to the body, 30.5 to the head. So rounding's kind of weird. It'll show 31, or at least it should show 31. We're gonna treat it as 30. Previously, it was 14 to the body, 25 to the head. So here's the deal. Before, you needed 8 headshots for 200 damage, and a high resilience guardian can survive that. You could also do 7 crit and 1 to the body for 189, and that would down 3 resilience or less. Now that you're doing 30, you need 7 headshots. That's 210 damage. That downs high resilience. But you can also do 6 headshots, 1 body shot for 199. And again, that's going to shut down almost anything that you're going to see except for those max resilience guardians, which you don't run into too much. Basically any hunter, you're gonna 6 headshot, 1 body. You're gonna get this TTK a lot. So be thinking it's gonna be 6 head, 1 body instead of 8 headshots. That's an unreal buff. And then you can keep going down the line. You could do 5 headshots, 2 body shots for 188, and that's 2 resilience or less. Guys, this is the Red Death. This is literally Red Death at the end of Destiny 1. It did 30 to the head and 20 to the body. So it isn't a direct translation. This one does 30 to the head and 19 to the body, but this is basically Red Death. The range catalyst gets it to 93 range. It heals you on when you down opponents. It refreshes the mag on headshots. It should be really good in the Crucible. And if all that translates, it should be really good in PvE as well. Crimson just became viable in my opinion on paper, but we need to see how it acts though. It is currently checking all the boxes though, be ready for it. They also fixed an issue that was causing the weapon to deal a higher flinch than was intended. That thing flinched you all over the place. That was really the only thing that it had going for it. Moving on to Merciless, they fixed the missing aim stat for the weapon. Ace of Spades, Memento Mori's damage is now affected by range fall off, which makes sense. I'm okay with that. Lumina, Noble rounds should apply their buff to allies more reliably, because that thing could just shoot off into the space, into the void, and just be gone. The Colony, Serve the Colony now functions as auto-loading holster. They get into perks. Subsistence, reduce the impact of this perk on total reserves, which was needed. That thing was brutal. I have 3 hand cannons waiting in my vault. Hopefully they can start putting in work. They nerfed ricochet rounds. They removed the hidden bonus to damage fall off. So that's that zoom factor that it gives. So it's still going to be a top tier perk because it gives +4 to range, plus I believe 9 or 7 to stability. But that hidden bonus to the fall off was pretty good. Swashbuckler, it now activates, getting a kill with ball lightning, which is cool. Grave Robber now activates, getting a kill with ranged abilities such as ball lightning, explosive knives. That's awesome. 1-2 punch, they nerfed it. They reduced the effectiveness of stacking 1-2 punch with cross counter from the Liar's Handshake. They say that there's still going to be a few more this week at Bungie before the release of Shadowkeep, and they're still going to have more patch notes, different things. But as it stands currently, this is a big chunk. A lot of weapons got buffed, not too many got nerfed. We'll have to wait and see if things like Recluse or anything like that gets nerfed. But I'm fairly excited for it. Things like Oxygen, all these ARs should be getting better. But the most exciting thing to me from what I see from this week at Bungie, it's gonna be the Crimson, man. The Red Death has always been one of my favorite weapons in the game, and I talked about it in previous videos and I've talked about it on Twitter. The Crimson, not knowing that this buff was coming, was on the brink. It's one of those weapons that if it gets buffed too much, it could be a real problem. So they did internal testing, we'll have to see how it goes, but it could be very good. That's going to be it for me. That's the main thing that I wanted to talk about. If you're new to the channel, remember to hit the subscribe button. If you are subscribed, thank you for your continued support. Remember to like and comment if you guys and gals see fit. What do you think about these changes? Is there anything that you really like that you don't like? Let's talk about it in the comment section. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, I am CoolGuy.